Okay, this is the last of the basics to stoichiometry that I'm going to work, and this is one of the bigger problems, so I'm going to have to do some erasing up here. Remember that you can always hit pause, and I would encourage you to do that on any video tutorial to kind of process what you're hearing and write down your thoughts and try to work it on your own ultimately is what I'm trying to help you do. You just have me as a background voice kind of helping facilitate you work through the problem. So we see a combustion reaction, C2H4 plus 3 moles of oxygen yields 2 moles of carbon dioxide plus 2 moles of water. And our question says, if 45.0 grams of C2H4 reacts with O2, how many grams of water will be formed? So let's start by writing down what we're beginning with or being given, and that is 45.0 grams of C2H4. So let's go ahead and write that down. And then let's see what we're trying to get to. How many grams of water? Okay, so I'm going to go ahead over here on the far right side and write grams of H2O. And guys, this is my, I've been teaching stoichiometry for a while now, so I know in my head that this is a three-step problem, which is why you saw me write them so far apart. But remember, I don't want you memorizing that grams to grams is a three-step problem. I want you to see the why. How do I know that? So let's go ahead and draw our T-chart. And first and foremost, we're going to get units to cancel out. And we know that the only way that we can get grams of C2H4 to cancel out is to drop it down. So we're going to go ahead and drop those right down here. And guys, anytime you get to a place where you're looking for the mass of something, find the mass of it. Think about what we know. We know that 1 mole of any substance equals the molar mass. So go ahead and find the molar mass of C2H4. You should get that as being 28.054 grams. And again, think about, what does molar mass mean? It represents 1 mole. And you're going to watch me write 1 mole of C2H4. Why is it important that I write that C2H4? Well, let me show you. Because now grams of C2H4 is gone, and look where you're at. You're at moles of C2H4. So what's going to have to drop down next? Moles of C2H4. Well, I'm trying to get to grams of H2O, and this is what we're going to call that transition step. Okay, somehow I've got to transition over to water. Well, how do we transition from one substance to another? We're going to use a mole ratio. So here is where I transition from C2H4 into water. Mole over mole means you look to the coefficients. Notice that there's a coefficient of 2 in front of the water, and there's a coefficient of 1 in front of the C2H4. Anytime we don't see a coefficient, we know that there's an understood 1 there. And so now I'm canceling out moles of C2H4, and look where you're at. You're at moles of H2O. Drop down moles of H2O. And this is the point on the quiz that some of you got confused at. What happened was you looked up at the H2O and you saw a 2 here. And so you said, okay, 2 moles of H2O. You saw grams right here, and you said, okay, that's the molar mass, and the molar mass of H2O is 18.015. Well, I want you to pause for a second, and I want you to think about, what does that number represent? Does 18.015 represent 2 moles? Because that's what you have written right here. You have that 18.015 represents 2 moles, and that is not accurate. 18.015 represents 1 mole of water. And so that's a place that some of you made a very small mistake, but as you saw in your quiz, it cost you the correct answer. And so now we would put all of this into our calculator, multiply straight across, and then divide. And when I'm putting this in my calculator, I'm getting 57.7938 grams of H2O. Now let's look back at the original problem. 3 sig figs, which means I want 3 sig figs in my answer. So I'm going to round that to 57.8 grams of H2O. Mass to mass problems are all the same, guys. So if you don't understand the units, you don't understand the canceling out, think about it. This value is always going to be a molar mass value, always. This right here is always going to be a mole ratio, always. And this is always going to be a molar mass. And again, keep in your mind that 1 mole equals the mass, okay? So don't change this value unless you're prepared to multiply the molar mass by 2 or 3 or whatever the coefficient was.